remember something coach said to me. He said, son, I can't use you 'cause you're not on the tape. Yeah, I got on my feet, but I'm never gonna decapitate.
This is the Fatman Vape Reviews, and this is the Fatman himself, Rob, coming at you today. The juice I'm reviewing today is the High Caliber Blue Raspberry e-liquid. Now, first initial impressions. Very good taste, good quality vapage. Plumes of vapor production, very good. The mixture on this juice is a 70-30 mix. 70 PG, 30 VG. 1.2% overall nicotine in the entire mix, or 12 milligrams per milliliter of nicotine. This is a very well labeled bottle. As you can see, everything on here. It's got the nice expiration date. It's got all the nice little pretty pictures, and as you can see, the juice itself, a nice dark blue. Now, first initial impressions, the first thing that worried me about this is how thick it is and how it sticks to the plastic. If the PG-VG this comes from is not done well, this can play hell with your cardos. That's my initial worry about this. But I've been vaping it for a little bit now, a couple hours now. Obviously, with a color that big, you're going to get some nice little stains in there. But if you look at that cardo, it's hard to tell really the color in there. But it's not very dark blue like a lot of them are with that kind of coloring, which indicates to me that the VG and PG that's being used for this is very high grade. I'm not sure if it's the highest grade, such as the kosher certified USP food grade, but I know for a fact that this is good food grade USP at least, VG and PG. Now I'm putting a little more in my cardo there so we can hit it as we go. This was gotten from e-cig Best Save and 3 Rivers, the place that brought you the EVO juice that I last reviewed. You know how I feel about them. The customer service is most excellent. They're probably one of the best companies around here as far as cheap and quantity and quality goes. They've got pretty much anything you want. They've got the VV Novas, they've got the Vision Clearamizers, they've got Cardos, they've got Addies, they've got mods of all sorts. They have a lot of Ego style 900, 1000, 650, 850 MAH batteries for you to use with your Cardos and Addies and tanks and whatever system setup you like the best. They pretty much got everything. I like getting juice from them because a specialty of review is obviously juice. So let's talk a little bit about this one. Let me get my cap back on here after I filled it. It's settled for a minute. Let's talk about this juice specifically. That is copious amounts of vapor production. Beautiful blue raspberry taste. Now this is not an overwhelming blue raspberry that's so strong you feel it all the way through your head like some of them can be. But I'll tell you what, this does have a nice potent blue raspberry taste. You can tell what it is when it hits your tongue. It's nice and strong. Not as strong as it could be, but strong enough to make an impression on me. I'll tell you that this is a fairly good. It's hard for people to get a blue raspberry that tastes good. I've tried 4 or 5 different blue raspberries from this point, and so far, this is my favorite tasting one. Now, when it comes down to the company, as I've explained, the e-cig Best Save, they're really great. But High Caliber juice, I was kind of worried about messing with these guys. I had a juice from them, Fire Cured Tobacco, a while ago that I wasn't real impressed of. It's one that had steeped for over 3 months. The flavor was very, very strong, and it had almost like a jalapeno flavoring node in it. And the jalapeno flavoring note, a lot of people think I mean eating jalapenos fresh off. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a food version jalapeno flavor. Most people who ever, if they've had the Mad Hatters from KVS or this Virginia Fire Cured, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, there's a chip called Crunchers. It's a kettle cooked chip, and it's jalapeno flavored. It comes in a green bag. This is also regional. I tried to explain the KVS Mad Hatter to people before and explain that to them, and they say, "What's a Cruncher? Never heard of it." So it's not everywhere in the U.S., but that's the one flavoring that I can compare that to. I wasn't impressed. The flavoring was way too strong, and that could be because it's steeped for 3 months. Now, for those of you who don't understand what steeping is, as a DIY expert and master, I will explain the idea of steeping liquid. When you mix this, you're mixing in VG, you're mixing in PG, you're mixing in flavorings, and you're mixing in nicotine. Now, the flavorings can be 1 all the way up to 30 if you want. It depends on how intricate the recipe is. So, with this being said, all the flavorings have different bases. There's PG, VG, water, alcohol. There's tons of different flavorings. And the way they settle in with VG and PG can be different. So, certain juices, certain ones I make up, I can mix and I can vape it right then. Instantly, it has the flavor desired, and it only gets better as it goes. Certain flavors, when it's first mixed, you have to set it in the drawer for 2 or 3 days, so the molecules in all of the flavorings and the VG, PG, Nic can coalesce together to make a beautiful meld of flavoring. The best example I can give, if you walk into KVS and you order the OMFG tobacco, when you first hit it, it's decent, it's good. But as you let it settle, that flavor just melds together more perfectly. I'm not a huge fan of the OMFG tobacco, but it is pretty good, and that's a good example to use. So, knowing that, I had heard good things and bad things about High Caliber. I heard it was a cheap company that made cheap liquid that wasn't very good, all the way to people who lived and died by it. With that first experience, I was a little gun-shy. But what got me to try this was the coloring. I love bright vapes if they're good. I also love blue raspberry. I walk into the store, the man behind the counter has a tank full, a 6mm F16 style tank with a Smoke Tech Cardo in there. Or, excuse me, it was a Bogue Cardo, and it was filled with this. And I said, wow, that is cool. What is it? Blue raspberry. Well, I'm going to try it. And that's why we're here. The blue raspberry is brilliant. It's not a point where it's so blue raspberry, it has that tart, nasty taste to it. It's a nice, sweet, nice, full-bodied flavor. It has a lot of notes of that blue raspberry sensation, but it also has enough sweetener in it to balance it out. Some blue raspberries I've tried were so sweet that the blue raspberry flavor became unrecognizable. And this is not the case. This is a perfect mix. Out of the many blue raspberries I've tried, including ones I've tried to make myself, this is probably one of the better ones. As for the flavoring in it, I really don't have an idea of what's in it, but I do have an understanding that the VG and PG are very good. This is why it doesn't appear to be really thick for a 70-30, and this is also why it vapes so well. e-cig Best Save, one of my favorite companies. High Caliber is a decent company. As you can see, the bottle is very well labeled, designed very well, nice pretty color of juice in there. Overall, I'm going to give this a 75%. I might give it a little bit higher if I wasn't so concerned about how the Cardo could be gummed up. As you can see now, it's a little darker because I saturated it a bit more. I took a couple hits before, but it still doesn't appear to be gumming up the Cardo. The best way you can tell that, when you pour juice in after you break in your Cardo, if little filmy residue sits at the top of the Cardo, that means that the flavoring or the VG in it is not up to par. It could also be a bad PG, but that's less likely. When I do this, it doesn't. It absorbs nice in the Cardo. Now, this isn't all the case with all the Cardos. Some Cardos are cheaply made, so even good juice will have a small amount of residue, but usually it's pretty thick and it takes minutes to settle. I had poured mine in and it only took seconds. Obviously, since it's so dark and since it's so well integrated with the blue color. You don't want to get any on you. You could stain yourself. And also a cautionary tale that I've told people before, the scars I've got on my fingers from playing with 100 milligram per milliliter DIY nicotine. So don't let this stuff set on your hands. For people who are beginning out there, don't do it. It's not worth it. Wash your hands off instantly if you get any e-juice on it. With this being said, I give this juice a great review. If you like blue raspberry, you want to try out e-cig Best Save, it's very good. You know, for the price that it is, it's very great. It's 13 and some change. That's right in the middle of all the layers of pricing. You have people priced all the way over here. BestEcig.com, CatskillMountainVapor.com, which are really cheap liquids, and the quality also is very low. And then you got them over here, and this is the Pink Spot company that has very, very high quality flavoring, juices, everything, but it's almost $1 a milligram. This quality is only slightly over here, but the price is over here, and that's what I like about this. This is probably, to date, my favorite blue raspberry flavor, and I would suggest it to anybody. If you like blue raspberry, you're looking for a decent vape, go to e-cigbestsave.com, grab yourself some high caliber blue raspberry. Alright, and this is the Fatman Vapor, and I'm out of here. See you on the next one.